What is up, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time watching, we are your Colorado real estate family. If you've been interested in moving into Fort Collins recently, you might want to watch this video. We're going to give you 5 market updates that you're going to want to know.
All right, let's go. If you're new to our channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're looking to move to Colorado, Denver, or any of the surrounding cities, we're the people that you need to know. Yep. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We put out at least a couple videos a week. Yeah, guys, we like to be your boots on the ground experts, because if you're planning on moving into Fort Collins specifically, we like to give you all the information that you need to know. So we're talking about activities, house prices, everything that you really like to know, or stuff that you really need to know if you're moving here. Also, licensed real estate agent here, helping you out with all your real estate needs. We're constantly helping viewers out just like yourself who are purchasing a single family home or a multi-family home, condos, townhouses in the state of Colorado, and then also Fort Collins. So let's go ahead and dive into 5 market things that you're going to want to know if you're planning on moving into Fort Collins. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is inventory. And a lot of our clients ask this, hey, we've heard about Colorado. Well, what's the inventory like? Is there any houses, things like that? So I pulled the most recent data for you, which actually ends in May. Obviously, they concluded May, so we have some really rich data as far as inventory specific to Larimer County up north. So let's talk about that a little bit. So active or new listings, we'll talk about 2 things. We'll talk about new listings, and then we'll talk about the actual inventory numbers, okay? So new listings in 2021 compared to 2022. So 2021 is 652. Those were new listings on the market in May. And then here in 2022, it was 724, which is 11% increase. So yes, the inventory is there. That does differ between each city, but specifically today, these numbers are being pulled from Larimer. So that is gonna combine a little bit of the outer cities of Fort Collins, but they do kind of lump those counties together to get really encompassing numbers. We talked about Denver County last time. If you haven't checked that out, Peter will pop in a little clickable right above here so that you can go check that out next, but that's 11% increase. So no, we do not have an inventory shortage right now for new listings.
Well, hold on one second, just to kind of put everything into perspective. Just when we talk about Larimer County, we're talking about Fort Collins. Just like I know Fort Collins is in Larimer County, so that's why we're putting these numbers together.
That's good.
Yep.
See, that's why we're here together. Okay, so if we talk about inventory, okay, so before I move on, let me back up and at least tell you what the numbers are for townhouse, condo, type new listings. So new listings around this time in 2021 is 172. And new listings now in this last month of May 2022 was 166. So this is actually a negative 3.5. So yes, in the single family world, we are not seeing the new listings go down. However, we are in the townhouse and condo arena. So that is something to consider. And Peter's going to be going into a little bit of other specifics that we're seeing differ. Usually these trend together. We're not seeing that up in Larimer County or Fort Collins. So, okay, so let's talk about inventory really quick. Inventory in 2021, it was 449, and in 2022 it was 497, so up 10.7%. And that's for single family. And then in townhouse condo, 2021 is 137, and in 2022, 84. So negative 33. So again, inventory is not, we're not seeing a shortage in single family up in Fort Collins, but we are seeing it in townhouse condo.
Yeah, and so here's something to kind of throw in there, just saying from like a real estate agent's perspective, is what we're seeing is people are getting pushed out of the Denver metro area, right? And so a lot of them are going to Fort Collins. They don't mind that drive or that commute going all the way down. Or what did COVID do? A lot of people are working from home, so they love Fort Collins, they love the lifestyle in Fort Collins, and so a lot of them are moving up there. So that's why we're kind of seeing these things where it's like Fort Collins is starting to blow up a lot more. These market trends are going to show it a little bit more and more as we kind of go through all the numbers. So something to kind of keep in mind. Fort Collins, since it is so far away from Denver, some people are choosing to commute or just stay home and work at their house in Fort Collins.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are really good points. Okay, so number 2 is going to be average days on the market. It's a big one.
Of course, breaking it up into your single family and then also your multifamily. What are we kind of looking at? So let's compare 2021 to 2022, and right now we're talking May. So right now is June. That's why we always go back, because that way we have the complete numbers and we're not just kind of throwing you whatever we see out there. So, all right, cool. So May of 2021, your average days on market for a single family house was 51 days. What does it look like in 2022? In 2022 is 38 days, so it went down 25.5% since average days on market for your single family. Here's the interesting part right here. Let's dive into multifamily, condos and townhouses, right? In 2021, May of 2021, your average days on market was 58 days. What is it in 2022? You're looking at 77 days. So it's up 32.8%. It's crazy how one decided to go this way and the other one decided to go this way. Not really sure why. Single family is going off the market much quicker than your multifamily is. And so it's just something that we're kind of seeing. I mean, we see a lot of people who, when they relocate to Fort Collins, they kind of have that outdoor lifestyle and they want that single family house so that they could store their bikes, their campers, their boats, and all the good things. So that's just something that, I mean, that's not by any means something that we read off of numbers or anything. That's just what we've experienced personally.
The other thing too, I was recently looking up schools for one of our clients up there, and they had over, I want to say like over 10 schools listed on the main page that were graded above a B+ for kids. And so that could be a big reason that a lot of families are choosing Fort Collins, which therefore they need a bigger space, which, you know, maybe the single family is becoming more desirable. So again, this is all speculation, but we just looked up schools recently and they have a lot of really good schools. So could lead to more families relocating there. So this takes us into number 3, which a lot of our clients ask. It's actually probably one of the number one things we get asked the most, and that is, are homes selling for asking? And the answer is yes. And some. So sale to list price percentage is 105.9%, meaning that they are going over asking price. This is, again, the big reason it's so important to have a local agent. Some of you are new to us, so you'll be like, oh my gosh, you're saying this because you guys help on the buy side and the sell side. Yes and no. Of course we want to help you. That's why we do all of this, is to educate and help people, you know, through this transition of life. However, it's just fact. It's 105.9% to 9%, excuse me. And we have to prepare our buyers to be competitive. We actually just did another video recently, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out, about how to be competitive in the marketplace. But this is why it's so important, because yes, they're going over, so we need to make sure that, you know, on the other side, that your lending is matching up, that we're putting in, you know, good offers, but not obviously so good that you're, you know, walking into no equity or, you know, things like that. So, but yes, you are going to be paying what they're asking, and if you want to be competitive, suspect that you're going to be going over that, and get really competitive and strategic in your offers.
Yeah, and I want to throw something in there too. Like Chelsea had mentioned how important it is using a local agent. There's been a few times you guys have reached out like, but wait, you guys live in Thornton. How can you say you're local agent to Fort Collins? That's why we have a great team. We have Lane on our team, and like I said, she specifically lives up in the northern area. So if it's something that we can both kind of collaborate with, and that's why we want to give you guys the best service possible by doing that. We're not going to sit here and say, oh, but you know, but we live this far away or whatever. That's why we have this team, and I mean, hands down, no one can work the northern area like Elena can.
That's true.
She is a true expert in that area, so that's why we really like to partner up with her. So here's something I'm also going to throw in is, as of right now, yes, properties are selling for more than list price, but guess what? Interest rates they hiked them up 0.75%. I don't know what it's going to do to the interest rates. Typically, just because, even though it doesn't have a direct correlation with your mortgage interest rates, I mean, trending, it usually goes up whenever the Fed raises the rates and everything. So that might soften the market quite a bit, and we might not see the same market where it's a super hot seller's market. It might slowly start to go into more of a buyer's market, depending on how those mortgage interest rates kind of go up. So something to really kind of keep in mind. Right now, currently what we're seeing, yes, people are still buying houses. It is still hot. You're still competing. But in the next couple months, I might not be saying that.
Yeah, and that's, again, one of the reasons we're going to start doing these market updates every so often, and we're going to kind of cycle around to different cities, especially ones that we're really, you know, working really strongly in. We know it can change from month to month, and it's our job to stay up to date on what that is so we can best serve our clients. So we're going to try to start doing these market updates. If there's certain things you guys want to hear outside of what we're already covering, we're going to cover the same 5 topics right now, but if there's something that you're like, hey, I wish I would have known this, please let us know. Comment down below, reach out, however. Okay, so that takes us to number 4, and that is, what are houses selling for in Fort Collins?
All right, cool. I guess this is where I really shine, right? So let me throw all the numbers kind of together, like grouped together. We're talking about your multifamily, single family, all in one. What does that number look like as of May of 2022? You're looking at a median sales price of $573. Like I said, and I've mentioned many times before, I use the sell price because houses are constantly doing this when it comes to the buying wars and such, and that's why that median home value doesn't really stack up to what you're really seeing in the market. Now let's break it down. What are you looking at if you want to buy a single family house in Fort Collins right now? Your median sales price in May of 2022 was $630,000. What are we looking at the Yeah, it's getting up there.
It's getting up there a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, that would have been unheard of. Fort Collins has become so popular. There's so many times that it's been rated one of the top spots to move into in the United States. So it's definitely moving up there quite a bit.
Before you move on, though, I whistle and we joke about it because Fort Collins is becoming so hot.
Yeah.
It's still not even close to being comparable to Boulder, Golden. I think Denver's pretty close.
Yeah, Denver's up there. I mean, Fort Collins is creeping in on Denver for sure.
It's creeping, but not even close to Boulder.
No.
So,
Yeah, Boulder. Last time we checked, I want to say it's the beginning of this year, probably the first quarter is like right around 900,000.
Yeah.
That's grouped together. That's not even single family. So that's comparing to the 573, 900,000.
But
and then
it's
Golden
good for Fort Collins to see it rising.
It is, yeah. I mean, Fort Collins is literally becoming like the northern hub of Colorado. It's the largest city on the northern side of Colorado, and it's just become that go-to spot, and it's going to keep on growing more and more and more. So, yeah, it's exciting to see. All right, cool. Now let's dive into the multifamily, your townhouses, condos, row homes. You're looking at a median sales price of $421. So, I mean, think about that gap. It's
that's like
crazy.
a $200,000 gap.
Yeah.
So, talking about these prices, okay, so we've talked before about how when you're on the west side of town, like when you're looking in Denver and all the surrounding cities, and you're on the west side of town close to the mountains, it becomes more expensive. Up in Fort Collins, you still have some on the east side, but majority of Fort Collins is going to be on the west side of I-25. So what are you looking for as far as where you're going to be a little bit more expensive? So the foothills, obviously, so right up next to it. We actually have a video talking about, what is it?
The ponds.
The West Fort Collins neighborhood.
Yeah, the ponds is one of the main neighborhoods that we kind of went into.
Yeah, and that, obviously the closer you get to the mountains, or I guess kind of Horsetooth Reservoir. So the second thing is lakes. So when you're close to a lake, it's going to be more expensive. Downtown, when you're close to downtown, it's going to be, or Old Town. I don't like calling it downtown.
It's like Old Town, Fort Collins. Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more expensive because of that walkability and kind of that culture and all of that. Is there anything else I'm missing that makes it a little bit more pricey?
No, I mean, it's just, it's kind of like some of your newer developments. It's weird because like a lot of newer developments usually see those numbers up a little bit more, but there's so many like these small little lakes that all these neighborhoods surround. It's just crazy how much those houses are going for. And so, I mean, think about, what was it, whatever Co, it was like million median sales price, So all those different like lake neighborhoods are definitely like keeping that price point up quite a bit as well too.
Yeah, and the other thing too about houses. So we talk about Fort Collins.
Terry Cove, that's what it was.
Oh, Terry Cove.
Yep.
We talk about Fort Collins growing, and in the heart of Fort Collins, there is not really any room for growth. So where we're seeing a ton of growth is actually going from Fort Collins to Loveland, there's still a gap, which means there's still a lot of area to grow. So that gap closing from Fort Collins to Loveland, and then we also see the gap closing anywhere along the highway exits, and then on the east side of I-25. And so that's where we're starting to see, and north too. So kind of the outskirts of all Fort Collins is growing outward. So I don't think it's affecting inward as much, except for the people like coming in to like take advantage of all the things, but they're also making all of these really awesome God, how do you describe those neighborhoods with like all the hubs, like all the events within the neighborhood, like Bucking Horse.
Yeah.
So like they're making their own little.
They're like super community. They got their own farm, pool, like all this stuff. They're like super community. Like we have Anthem here in Broomfield, very similar, where you have all these different. The community could just really come together.
Yeah, so. They don't have to go into town to like have collaboration and community and restaurants. They're creating all of that within these little hubs around Fort Collins, which I think helps disperse kind of like the crowdedness, don't you think?
It does for sure. Just kind of building, it's like if people could do everything that they need to do within that little neighborhood, outside of maybe they might have to hit a huge box store from time to time, it's all accessible and they don't have to be driving all the time or doing any of that, and they want to be a part of their community, doing the farm thing. And what is it in Tacoma, they're doing agri-hood. It's something, it's something similar to that, not on the same scale that they're doing it there, but it's pretty cool to be able to come together as a community and kind of create these little bonds with each other. So that's very awesome.
They're taking advantage of that in Fort Collins for sure, and people love that.
Yep. All right, cool. So now let's dive into number 5. Number 5 is experts' advice in regards to real estate for Fort Collins. Now, I could go on, and I kind of give you my insight a little bit, but why don't we hop over to Elena and see what her expert advice is happening in Northern Colorado, more specifically Fort Collins.
Hi guys, and thanks Peter. So similar to other markets, the last month has been really interesting up here in Fort Collins. The higher mortgage rates have shaken things up a bit, and I would say it's helped us to get to a more normal market environment. With higher rates, we've seen fewer buyers and slower price growth, and what that means to you is less competition. For instance, I have a listing currently active in a very desirable neighborhood, and while 2 months ago, even 1 month ago, it wouldn't have lasted through the weekend, here we are on Tuesday, still waiting for that right buyer to come along. You'll be able to buy a house without having to offer $50,000 over asking and your firstborn child. Overall, I would say my advice would be, don't let the rates scare you away. Mortgage rates don't last long when you consider refi options down the road, and we'll continue to see appreciation as those economic forces of low supply and high demand are still at work here.
All right, thanks Elena. It's always so good to see your beautiful face. All right, so guys, if there are certain areas that you want us to cover this market analysis or update for 2022, please let us know. Otherwise, we're just gonna guess on which areas are most important to you guys based off your involvement and engagement on the video. So go ahead and comment down below and let us know what cities you want us to cover because we do these videos for you.
Yeah, guys, and of course what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw that phone number in below, right there. That way, if you're looking at purchasing a home in Colorado, more specifically Fort Collins, give us a ring. Chelsea's gonna be the one answering that call, no one else. And until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye.